Okay. The Truth to LDS video that I posted is taken down from my account due to, I guess, flaggings, reports, and everything. And honestly, the responses I found and got to, I guess, my opinion, well, actually, fact that I found and posted, is only giving me a stronger reason to do more research and come back with another video. So I'm going to be making that soon. But because some of you considered it that I was getting all my information from anti-Mormon sites and such, I'll use your books, your Doctrine and Covenants, your Pearl of Great Price, just generally everything that you believe is to be true. And one challenge I received actually was to quote the Bible verses that I said were right, and the Mormonism verses and lectures that I found contrary to the Bible. And I'll do that too. So be expecting that sometime this week. I'm not gonna go down. It's a challenge, and let's go for it. Anyhow, this video is basically for just a small vent, something to get off my chest. Practice what you preach, which I'm also going to mention in my Mormon video because they're supposed to be taught to love and to help and to care, but they don't seem to. Some things I got were just outright ridiculous and, if anything, belittling to me as a person, and I'll be sure to mention that and actually put up the photos and comments that were said. So, yeah. Um, Fasting what you preach. This is mainly going out to the extremist Christian. I believe that there are some doctrines and denominations and some fundamentalists that maybe have a point and they were raised to be that way. So I can see that their mindset is stuck like that. So I give them their benefit and just say, okay, that's fine, person's not going to stop, so I don't bother. But then I have the people, who are convert, I guess you could say, like a recent one, some within this past year, some within the past 5, some within the past 10. And I'm not saying, oh, you need to know Jesus all your life to know Jesus. That's not true. Getting to know Jesus is one of the greatest things, if not the greatest thing that can ever happen to a person. Salvation is what is going to get us from this world to the next, from this life to heaven. So just keep that in mind. But it is annoying, and I will say, let me give an example. There's a friend, uh, somewhat of a friend of mine. She's known God and the Savior for about, I think she said 6 or 7 years. So 6 or 7 years, and I've known God and Jesus my entire life from birth to now. My testimony is a lot stronger now because when I was younger, I generally knew who Jesus was and everything, but it wasn't like I tried to go out there and throw it everywhere. And I was learning. That's the thing. It takes time to gain your knowledge. So anyhow, for this person to tell me I didn't know God and I didn't know the Bible was kind of funny because I read the whole Bible, 2 different versions. I read NIV, but I didn't like it very much because it was very just strange. I've read King James Version, and I'm currently reading a ESV. But the first 2 that I mentioned, I've read them full. Every verse, every page, every chapter. Bible study to me, daily Bible study is something that is necessary. You can't gain knowledge into what you believe if you don't know what you're trying to gain knowledge into. ESV right now, I like it. It's interesting, yeah. So I'll be reading it more. I'm only a little bit halfway through Old Testament right now. I just started, so give me a break. But the thing I want to say is, I understand these people are happy that they found God. They feel a new light in their lives, and they just want to spread it with the world. But don't shove it down people's throats. Don't tell somebody they live a life that's wrong because something you read maybe once or twice and take it your way without getting it other ways is the right way for you. It may not be for them. So, I mean, practicing what you preach, because you came into the light, you came into the truth to follow Christ, but you're not doing that. Jesus had his moments in the Bible, like flipping over the tables in the temple and everything, criticizing the Pharisees, and I mean, yeah, Jesus did that. Yeah, he did. But he didn't go around shouting at people saying like, "You're going to hell. You did this and you did that." No. Jesus was loving. He was caring. He was compassionate. He had a heart. Uh, if Jesus were here right now and he was sitting down talking to you, that's the way I look at it, and he asked you, why is there salvation in your hands so much? Or are you the way, the truth, and the life? Could you honestly say yes? Could you say, yeah, Jesus, I'm just trying to help them, get better and on the right track because I know what I'm talking about, or anything like that? Would you honestly say that to Jesus? You say, well, I know what you taught me and what you wanted me to do, how you wanted me to be, so I want them to be that way too. No, you probably wouldn't. You would probably weep and cry, because I would. And so after saying that, and let's just give an example that Jesus says something like, then why are you doing it? What are you going to say? What honest reason are you going to actually come up with? Because whether or not you are doing with good intentions, their salvation is not in your hands. Their way of living, you can't change. Their mindset, you'll never get into. Every person is their own. So I am tired. I'm absolutely sick of seeing these Christians just go out and say, I have the right to judge because I know the truth. No. Maybe if someone is in need of help and is desperately crying, and you can see that, help them. But do the way Jesus did it, with compassion and love. Throwing Bible verses down their throat and telling them how wrong they are, giving them examples of damnation and just everything isn't going to work. So practice what you preach. You call yourself a Christian, live as one. Because when that day comes, you're not going to be the one judging them. You're not going to be the one asking them their sins. You're not going to do any of that, are you? So keep your salvation in your hands. Keep your thoughts to yourself. And it's I guess one of these things is if you want to evangelize, do it nicely, do it appropriately instead of I guess posting it on social networking sites and getting angry when someone finds something that you said they don't agree with, because nobody's ever always going to agree. So just keep in mind, and I know that I'm going to get some feedback on this one too and say, I don't know, people might just criticize me like they did last time. But I have a right to an opinion. I'm going to speak my opinion, and there's absolutely nothing no one can do about that. Anybody who actually knows me, and knows me well, I should say, knows that I don't stay quiet. Maybe for a couple of days, but once I reach my extent or something that needs to be said, I say it. I don't limit my words. I don't sugarcoat the pieces. If it needs to be said, it needs to be said. So, congratulations to the few newfound Christians that I'm talking about, that we're referring to and everything, and they know who they are. It's great to have found the truth. But when speaking to someone, and trying to help them, don't do what you think is going to work. Because half the time, you have not read the full Bible. Therefore, you don't know the full story. You probably know most of the Old Testament, some New Testament stories, and the major ones. But there's always time to learn, and there's always reasons to learn. So, practice what you preach. If you call yourself a Christian, live as Christ did. Because he wouldn't damn people, because that's his job to judge, not yours.